For the next several weeks, I am going to be resharing some of my favorite conversations that I've had with women inside the BeFree Inner Circle. I wanted to give them space to really share what it means to them to be in a community specifically for Black women to do their inner work on their personal growth journey. And let me tell you, these conversations are so rich, you're going to want to listen to every single one, and I'm sure you're going to be jotting down tons of notes. Also, be sure to hop on the waitlist at BeFreeInnerCircle.com so when the doors open, you'll be the first to know. Now enjoy the episode. Welcome back to the Be Free Project podcast. I'm excited to bring you yet another interview with a special member inside the Be Free Inner Circle. Her name is Crystal, and she has been in the community, since December of 2019. So almost 2 years, actually.
Yes.
Which is pretty amazing. And you've been to many of my in-person events, the Be Free Meetup. And so I wanted to have a conversation with you today just to kind of talk about your experience inside the Be Free Inner Circle. And this way the listeners can get a perspective from someone who's actually a member and just kind of understands the flow and your experiences and all that jazz. So first and foremost, how are you feeling today?
I'm feeling well. Thank you for having me.
You are so welcome. I'm really, really excited. So my first question for everyone is, I want you to share some of the wins that you have experienced since being inside the Be Free Inner Circle.
Some of the wins that I've experienced so far, probably most recently was I left my job that I was working for 16 years, had all these dreams of climbing up the corporate ladder in that company. And I just realized after being a part of the Be Free Inner Circle, I was not fulfilled. It was not, it wasn't for me. And so I got the courage to leave my job and to pursue something that I'm very passionate about, working with individuals with disabilities. So I took that jump, and I'm very happy to wake up every single day and do what I absolutely love to do. And also,
I love that.
And also, another win for me is I have been consistently blogging since I started this. I have a passion for individuals with disabilities because I am a mom of a young man. He'll be 20 in a couple weeks with autism. And so I have blogged about my experiences with him, but I find myself more talking about the perspective of a mother and doing your work on yourself, your emotions, and everything that comes along with parenting an individual that has a disability.
And one thing I kind of want to go back to, because this was very significant for you to leave your job of 16 years and you took another job that is more fulfilling, as you mentioned, and you even took a pay cut, right? And so I want to talk about that a little bit, because sometimes people will stay in jobs that they're unhappy with just because of the money that they're making, but you were willing to find fulfillment and do work that you love and even risk taking less money in order to do something that was more fulfilling.
Yes. Yeah. I realized a couple years ago and that I remember sitting and saying, there has to be more to what I'm doing. There has to be more to just going to a job, doing the job, and then going home. It has to be more to life than that, Mm-hmm. And I was surrounded by people who worked with me that had been working there for 20, 30 years, looking forward to retirement because, you got that good government job, Mm-hmm. And they were like, and I felt odd because I kept saying I wanted to do something else. And at that time, I really didn't know what it was I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. I just knew I did not want to be there. Yeah. And having people around you that are kind of like, oh, just use this job to fund what you want to do and you do your own thing when you get home. And I'm like, I just could not see myself continuing to do that. Mm-hmm. It just didn't make sense to me. And then I could just remember people finally getting to retirement and within months of retiring, dying, and I'm kind of like, yeah. I'm like, when I retire, I want to enjoy my retirement, Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. But and I remember being stressful, like so stressful that having physical stress, like chest pains from stress, and I just was like, I told my mother, I said, if this job causes me to stroke out, I want you to sue them. Okay. So, because it was a lot and it was just no support. It was just, it was horrible. But I didn't know what I knew in my heart, that I had this passion for disabilities, but I really didn't know that, I never thought that I could do it because I didn't have the credentials to do it. I didn't have the degree. I have degrees, but I didn't have a degree with working with people with special needs. And so I was kind of like, I'm not going back to school. I don't want any more student loans. And so I remember my first in-person meeting that I went to. It was like I was sitting around women and they were Black women too, that wanted more. And I was like, this is my space. I was like, I need to be here. And so it lit a fire under me. And then I just remember saying I had this passion for this work, and I wanted to do this work. And I remember last summer during COVID, I started walking because that was a part of was that 3 to be free. And I was walking. I was walking, and I had developed, I was always a runner, but I've developed this liking of walking now. So I remember I was walking, and I listened to audiobooks or podcasts on my walks. And I started listening to a book called When to Jump. And it was basically talking about people who they had great careers, Wall Street, all kinds of fabulous careers, making wonderful money, but they left their careers to chase after what their passion was and what their purpose was. And after I read that book, I said, you know what? I'm going to do this. And if it works out for me, if I go through the whole process, I'm like, no, I don't have a social work degree. No, I don't have this, but I'm a mother. That's the experience that I bring. And I said, if I make it through the whole interview process and I get the job, even if it pays less money than what I make, I know this is for me. I know that the universe is going to make sure that everything is okay for me. And everything has been okay for me. We're paying the bills. We just came off a vacation. I've been on vacation this year, but it's different. It really is a fulfilling experience.
Yeah. And I actually remember the event that you just mentioned. I remember meeting you for the first time, and I can remember exactly where you were sitting when we were on the second floor, and to be able to watch how much you've grown, and even the things that you shared at that BeFree meetup, the things that you have implemented, because I don't think then you had a blog. And I remember it was a podcast that you wanted to start, and there was some other ideas that you had shared. And so to see where you were when I first met you, and I don't remember, I know it was at a BeFree meetup. And then to see where you're at now, it's an honor to be able to watch women grow and be able to share my teachings and see that you're actually putting it to work. And you're one of those people where what I share, you put to work, right? You listen to the podcast, you come to the live events inside the BeFree Inner Circle and all of the things. And I can see the fruit, that is blossoming off of you as a result of doing that. And then another thing that I remember you pointed out inside the BeFree Inner Circle is that even with taking a pay cut, you went through and reduced some of your expenses that you felt like, okay, I don't need these things. That way you can kind of make up. And then even started a jewelry business on the side. So I love how when you listen to the book, it was like, okay, it's either now or never. And that's the thing. We all have something that we yearn to do. We all have a passion, something that is calling us. But there's so many women that will stay stuck and complain, moan, and do all the things about the job that they have or the situation that they're in, versus people like yourself and other women that I'm interviewing from the BeFree Inner Circle that are actually doing something. And that is my pet peeve. Oh gosh, I don't want to go on a tangent about this, but you heard me say it. It bugs me when people talk a lot, but they never do anything. And the way that you're going to see yourself grow and flourish, you got to do something, right? Whether that's listen to attend an event or listen to a podcast or join the BeFree Inner Circle, whatever. Like, you have to do something. Otherwise, you're just going to be existing. And that's just, it's not fulfilling at all. So my next question for you is that how did you know you needed support with doing the work?
Like I said, I found that I was around people. I had friends, I was at work. Well, now that I know what friends are, I had people who I thought were friends.
That part.
But I just always knew I was different. I knew I viewed things differently. I know I wanted more out of life. Like, I can remember saying, and I was watching the Minimalist documentary yesterday, and they said this too: my dream does not match the American dream. And I remember that. I remember, like, I don't care about having this career, that I feel like I'm supposed to be working, I don't care about that. I want more from life.
Yeah.
And so I started digging deeper and doing, going to counseling and doing that inner work. I even, in my career at my job, I said, okay, you know what? I'm here now. Let me take advantage of whatever professional development opportunities are available to me, that the job is going to pay for, I got to go through a leadership series, a leadership cohort that I interviewed for and selected, which I learned even more about myself as an individual. I always say that I'm a lion, I'm not a lamb, And if you know me, I'm passionate, but it comes from a place of love. Yeah. And I used to hate that about myself. I used to hate how direct and straightforward and assertive, I used to call it aggressive, but it's not aggressive, and my supervisor now says it's a move in confidence, what, you want. And I used to hate that about myself. But then when I got into this leadership cohort, I realized, hey, to have a dominant leadership style, that's needed sometimes,
Yes.
And everybody has different personalities, and everybody has something to bring to the table. So, I began to dig even deeper into myself and wanting more. I hired a life coach, to try to help me. And I remember I was telling her I wanted to do something different. And she kept telling me, you're going to do something with people with disabilities. You're going to do something with autism. And I remember she had me write out, what did I want my ideal life to be? What did I want my ideal salary to be? What is all these things that I wanted? And the question that she asked me that I still to this day cannot answer is, what's preventing you from having the life that you want? And I was like, I don't know. So I remember talking to a coworker, just about some ideas and some things. And because this coworker too, she was trying to, get out of the agency we work for too. And she told me about the BeFree project. I said, oh, okay. Yeah. And she said, oh, they're having like a meetup or whatever. And just from her telling me, I was like, okay. She said she has a podcast. I said, okay. So I started listening to podcasts. And I said, okay, I'm going to go to the meetup. And she says, it's really nice. There's people that want to do things. Everybody's on the same page. I said, okay, I'm going to try it. And I went in with an open mind. And I had no expectations whatsoever. I just went in and said, let me see what this is about. And when I came in, I was like I said before, everybody is speaking my language. This is what I need to be a part of. I need people around me. I need community around me that understand what I'm talking about and are not telling me, oh, you too deep, and making fun of you.
Yes.
Yeah. And so it was like a breath of fresh air. So, and then as I got in there, I continued to go to therapy and I continued to dig deep and deep and deep. And even now, being in this community and listening to your podcast for almost 2 years, I still am doing the work because there's even more layers that have to be peeled apart, So, that's what led me to it.
And I love that. I love that because I've heard that so many times that when people come to my events or they join the BeFree Inner Circle or just meet me in real life, they're like, you are a breath of fresh air. And to your point, I've been told that I was too deep as well. And so that's why I believe that it's so important that you find your community where people don't have a problem with you being deep. People don't have a problem with you being vulnerable, being transparent, sharing your ups and downs, or sharing your dreams and celebrating you. Like, all of that is necessary. But if you've never experienced it specifically inside the BeFree Project or the BeFree Inner Circle, you think it's some foreign thing that don't even happen. I don't know how many times I have heard women say, like, why they don't hang around other Black women, right? And they can give you every negative reason under the sun. And I'm like, in the world that I live in, I said, my friends are so amazing. I don't have no drama, no negativity around me whatsoever. So much so that I cultivated a whole community within the BeFree Inner Circle to be this positive bubble where you can literally feel so safe to let your hair down and share your most personal moments or what have you, and sharing your dreams and everything in between. And there's never any judgment. And so I love that a coworker was like, hey, you need to try, check out BeFree Project, which you started coming to the in-person events, which led you to the BeFree Inner Circle. Because basically what happens is what I've cultivated in person, now there's an extension of that inside the BeFree Inner Circle. So I love that. So my next question is, what made you choose the BeFree Inner Circle? Because there's so many communities out here, but what made you say, I have to join the BeFree Inner Circle?
Okay. So my point, my friend my coworker, she never came to that in-person meetup. I ended up going by myself. I did not wait around on anybody. So I meant to add that in there as well.
Okay.
But what made me join the Inner Circle was I was going to the in-person meetups. I remember doing that. And I remember going to the last one that you had in person. But I think I had already joined the Inner Circle. I believe I did. I remember what I can say, and I've just told this to somebody else in the Inner Circle that just recently joined a couple months ago about, what led me was that I knew that space that I had when you had meetups, maybe they were once a month or something like that. I said, I need this more than once a month. I need this continuously. And then when we went into this is what happened. I remember what happened. Specifically. I remember you were going to change the in-person meetups. You were going to take them on the road. So having a monthly in Cleveland, you weren't sure about that. I remember now. And so I said, I need to continue to be a part of this, even if she doesn't have any meetups in Cleveland. And that's what led me to join it. And it's like the best decision that I've made. So, because it's even, seeing you in person and being at the in-person meetups, it's a whole vibe. It's a whole experience. I think the meetings were maybe 2 hours, 2.5, but we would still be there.
Yes. It was always an after party, always. And it's going to be like that in a couple of weeks when we have the one in September. Because I don't want to leave and nobody else wants to leave either, which is good.
Yes. So but to have that daily, what you had once a month for maybe a couple of hours, to have that in your space every single day and to hold you accountable. And as you can see, like, I've had it and I've been able to do the work that I need to do. It's kind of like, I put this here, I put it out here. Now I got to show up and I got to do it,
That part. Yes. And that's why I was saying in the very beginning, like, you are a perfect example of a woman who is doing the work, because the work is not easy. Listen, I'm doing my own personal work right now. And I'm like, but thank God. Yes, the community is amazing. The community cultivator, right? So just making sure everyone else is getting what they need. But then I have my own friendship group and I'm like, oh my goodness, what is happening today? But if you don't have community, if you don't have the right friends, because that's key. And I'm writing a whole article about this, like having the right people in your corner. It's hard to do the work. It's already hard by yourself, but it's really hard if you're doing it alone or you don't have the right people around you. And so my next question for you is, what is your favorite feature about the BeFree Inner Circle? For example, whether it's our weekly live chats or the inspirational quotes that go out every morning, meeting new friends in the community, guest speakers, what would you say is some of the features that you enjoy most that is supporting you on your journey?
Oh man, I love all of it. I really enjoy the live chats. I like that. I love seeing everybody's face because we see each other in the app, but then to actually be able to converse and see each other on Zoom, I really like that. And I also like the different teams too, you know, and just like I had, like when I went on vacation a couple of days ago, I tuned out, I disconnected from everything. So just like today, I've been home for a couple of days, but I still disconnected. So,
That's good.
but I still like, I can sit down and go back into the different teams and into the different conversations. And, you know, I can contribute to those conversations and see what was going on and everything. So, and I also like how we're able to share our wins in the community.
Yes.
So like we're able to celebrate, but I really, really like seeing everybody's face with the weekly live chats.
Yeah. And that's one of my favorite features of the community as well, because I am an extrovert and I love connecting and I love human interaction. And so seeing everyone's face on the screen and hearing voices and not just being able to see your picture inside the community, like you said, but actually seeing your face and hearing your voice, it builds more connection. And I love, love, love that. And then the teams is something newer that I added, I believe over this year, which is basically intimate small breakout groups, which I actually really love because I'm starting to see like more connections being made that way, whether you're in that plant community or you're in the TV shows, movies, and music or whatever. I think we have like 9 or 10 of them. But I think it's a great way to connect with women in a more intimate way because the community is large, right? But then when you have these small groups, you can connect with people. So I love that you mentioned that because that's something I'm really proud of because it's building more intimacy within the community. What's one reason that you feel other women need to join the BeFree Inner Circle?
One reason I think is because you need to be around women that will hold you accountable, that are positive, that are going to celebrate you. And you say it all the time, but I'm telling you, it is really and truly what happens. You know, some people have businesses and they're just throwing out advertisements, but you know, what you say is really exactly what's happening. You know, you get to develop. I remember I told my friends that I was expecting them to be what everybody in the inner circle was being, you know?
Oh, that's you put a lot on your friends.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I told them I needed that. And then I had to realize, that, you know, they are their individual people. Yeah. People friend differently. But they aren't the people in the inner circle, you know, but I know that I can go to my friends, you know, and you need that. You really and truly need that type of community. Recently, I was interviewed by a magazine. Oh, I forgot. That's a win.
You gotta put that in the community. I want to see that.
Yes, I got to I was waiting for her to post it before I put it in. But I was interviewed for a magazine, a local special needs magazine, because the lady has read somebody else told her about my blog. She's read my blog and she's like, it's amazing because she has a son, a 6-year-old with autism. And she's like, just telling your story, I'm able to see, you know, how things are going to progress with my son or could possibly progress. Yeah. And when I was talking to her, I had mentioned that I have different communities of people. You know, I have a community of special needs moms that I can go to and I can connect with and I can be honest about, you know, because if I tell you about what's going on with my son, you're going to be completely clueless because you haven't raised a special needs child, you know? Yeah. So I have this community of women that I can go to and talk to and get advice from. But then I also have this community, which is helping me to grow and is challenging me to be a better person. It's like my little self-care space, you know, especially with the quotes that come up every single day. And it's very, very positive. Even though we may share, I'm having a bad moment, everything is positive. There's no bickering. There's no arguing. So this is a safe space, you know, that you can do your work and growth and say what's on your mind, but nobody's going to judge you and nobody's going to be arguing with you. Yeah. And then I have my community of my friends. You know, that I can let all my hair down and laugh and everything with, and people who take me, every bit of me for who I am, you know? So,
I love that. And it's a few things I want to point out. Number one was celebration, because that's something that is very, very, very important And I started doing it with my friendship group. And then I brought it into the community because I don't think we as Black women celebrate ourselves enough. And we're so busy giving and giving and giving that we have to learn how to celebrate. So, this work that we're doing in the community, like we're still figuring it out. But now, to your point, we have a whole team, a small group inside the community where I want to hear your wins every single day, whatever win, big or small, I want to hear it. And what I love is that many times before I can get in there and say, yes, I see you, Crystal. There's so many women that have already responded and showed support and showed love. And that's one of the amazing things that I love about the community, to your point, that it's so positive. Unlike Facebook or other communities, like it's literally this positive bubble that I don't feel that you can get anywhere else. And then I love how you pointed out having different communities, because myself, I'm a part of several communities, right? And I think that that's important on your personal growth journey, whether you're an entrepreneur, you have a group of friends or a community for that, whether you have children with special needs, whatever, and I think specifically for the BeFree Inner Circle, doing your personal growth work and doing the work and being in a space to find friends that are like-minded is so, so key. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like you made several friends within the community that now you have built relationships offline, right? So it started inside the BeFree Inner Circle, and now you are building friendships, which that is very important. And so what made you feel comfortable or safe with even making friends within the community?
I think that I kind of, I'm a people watcher. I watch people and because I watch people to see who can I vibe with, and like you said, we all celebrate each other, but then there's also those people who you feel like you have a connection to, that you can make a connection with. And it starts off with something small, and it just kind of grows. Like one of our local people, we met up for coffee, and I was like, hey, she started texting me positive things. And then I said, hey, let's meet up for coffee. And now she's opened this business, and I celebrated one of her first events, so, and found out we live like 5 minutes away from each other. So,
perfect.
It's interesting. And also making those connections is challenging me and challenging my thought process, because I shared in the community that I didn't really grow up with an example of what friendships look like, My mom, when we grew up, she made everything about me and my brother, family was so important to her, so I didn't see, my mom having friends over, and I knew she had friends that she talked to and stuff, but like me and my kids would say, I'm like, oh, it's so-and-so's birthday, I'm going out, or it's so-and-so, I didn't see that. So I'm trying to figure it out and navigate through it. So that's an area that I'm still working on, but I'm also have enough courage that even though I'm working on it, I'm still have enough courage to try it out, And so it's challenging me to not think that people have to be how I want them to be, because, and loving people and accepting people right where they're at, and understanding, we say this, people put so much energy into romantic relationships. They don't put the same energy into friendships. And I'm learning now that building friendships is like courting and getting to know somebody and being intentional about getting to know them and calling them. And, it's a whole different thing. Because like, I think you ask the question all the time, you kind of just fall into friendships sometimes. And this is like, I have intentionally said, this is a person that I like their energy. I like their vibe. I'm going to reach out and I'm going to try to build something with this person. And not all of them have worked,
and that's
some of them have. And the ones that haven't worked, it's just kind of like, we're like, oh, this just didn't work. And
and it's not personal. It's just we didn't vibe in that way. And that's one of the things that I talk a lot about with the BeFree Inner Circle. Like, it's your space to find your forever friends. But it does take work, and you do have to be intentional. But from your just hearing you or whatever, like you made friends within the community and you still have your friends outside of the community. So it actually works. And I'm seeing it all the time where women are taking girls trips together. They're binge watching TV shows. They exchange numbers. And I'm like, this is what I want to see. Because if you're in a community with positive, like-minded women, like who are doing the work and they're on a similar journey, it's easier to befriend them than to go out and find some random person and like, oh, I want to be friends with her, but then y'all energy don't match, right? So at least inside the BeFree Inner Circle, like, okay, we're all doing this personal growth work. We're all here for a similar reason. So it makes it a little bit easier as it relates to making friends. So I'm glad that you pointed that out. And then my last question for you is, what would you say to the woman who says, I can't afford the BeFree Inner Circle?
It's a good investment. It's a very good investment that I highly recommend that people make. Mm-hmm. And I pondered on this question and I thought about it. And it's kind of like a lot of people are, I'm trying to think of the word, they're masking and they are suppressing. Mm-hmm. They're hiding. And they are self-medicating because they are, they want more, don't know what to do. Like I said, they could be like me. You're sitting in a group of people and you feel like the odd man out. And you don't have anybody building you up, people calling you deep, saying you're crazy, you're this, you're weird, you're all of these things. And the amount of money that we spend kicking it, going to the clubs, buying things. Mm-hmm. I say, put that money into yourself and developing yourself. Yeah. And I say they're masking and, they're self-medicating because they're chasing after all these things. They're chasing and chasing. They're trying to get fulfillment. They're chasing and they're chasing. Some people self-medicate. I'm going to drink. I'm going to take drugs because I don't feel comfortable. I feel singled out for how I feel. Mm-hmm. But rather than spending that money that way, I say spend it on yourself. Yeah. A lot of people are not comfortable going to counseling. And not to say that you are the replacement for a counselor.
Right, because I'm not.
But let this be a stepping stone,
Yes, I love that.
Let it be a stepping stone that I hear a lot of people say that I'm not comfortable telling somebody, being vulnerable in front of somebody else. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. Maybe get in the community, see what it's like, see other women being vulnerable. And I agree with what you say. That's 3 months. Try it out for 3 months.
Yes, exactly.
and see other people being vulnerable and see the support that's around it. Mm-hmm. And then it will challenge you to want to be vulnerable too,
Mm-hmm. Agreed. And I think sometimes when we think of investing, first of all, there's so much that I can speak on this, but we as Black women, growing up, you're not taught to invest in personal growth, right? We ain't see our family do it, and you don't really learn about it. Maybe you get it at the company you work for, and there's professional development, like what you took, you were a part of. But as far as doing the personal growth work, where you're working on your mindset, your emotional health, you're figuring out what goals you need to achieve to reach your dreams, you're building real and genuine friendships, like that is personal growth work, right? Mm-hmm. And if you are not used to investing in yourself in that way, let me say it this way. If you're not used to investing in your internal self, you will focus so much on the external and be broken inside. And I've seen it time and time again. Mm-hmm. Women walk into the BeFree meetup. I see people even joining the BeFree Inner Circle and they come in broken or they come in stuck, which is great. I want you because I'm going to be able to cultivate and help you grow and flourish and all that. But so often we are taught to focus on how we look. Is our hair done? Do we got on a cute outfit? And I can look at a woman, soon I can be talking to you for 5 minutes and I can tell you stuck. It don't take me long to pick up that you're in a cage for whatever reason. And so when we talk about investing, you need to invest in yourself, because I I pity the person who will stay in the same situation day after day after day and do nothing but complain versus making an investment and committing to herself and doing her personal growth and whatever that is. Because to your point, Crystal, with it being a positive, like-minded group of women, everybody's there for, number one, they're there on a similar journey, but everyone's path looks so different. Like, story is completely different, but yet they're all growing and flourishing in the most beautiful way. So yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. Any final words that you want to share with the audience before we log off?
I would say join the BeFree Inner Circle. You're gonna love it.
Yes.
Like, this is written in my budget every month. Okay.
Yes.
It's like a priority in my budget. So I definitely say join it. You know, like you said, like I said before, you hear Siobhan talk about it all the time on the podcast. And I mean, she's not kidding. It's real. It really is real. And I'm not the type of person to just say something to say something. So it really, and every time I meet a woman, every time I meet somebody, I tell them about the BeFree Inner Circle. Every time.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that so much.
When I'm talking to my friends, I said I probably get on their nerves because I'm always saying, "Oh, we were talking about in the BeFree Inner Circle," and you know, on the podcast this week, she talked about this. So yeah,
I love it. Well, thank you. I appreciate you taking time out to even have this conversation with me today, and it's going to be so valuable for everyone listening, just to get a behind the scenes peek at what it really feels like to be a member of the community. Because I can talk to I'm blue in the face, right? But to hear from a member's perspective on how you're winning in your life and your growth is like, I'm just truly grateful for it. So thank you so much. And then I will make sure that in the show notes, I will link to your blog so people can check that out. And until next time, girl, be free.
Thank you for listening to today's episode. And now I want to personally invite you to join the BeFree Inner Circle waitlist. That's right, the doors are currently closed. However, they will be opening soon. And I want you to be the first person to know when you can join the most amazing community for Black women to do their inner work on their personal growth journey. And everyone on the waitlist will have a special treat from yours truly. So head over to BeFreeInnerCircle.com and hop on the list. And I can't wait to see you in the community.